right, happy Valentine's Day, Padres fans. We've got a lot of spring training news and notes to report on today. Look at Jim. You're just a ray of sunshine today. It's
My heart is
Valentine's
still,
Day.
yeah, just
Spring training is here. We are 8 days away from a Padres game against the Dodgers, February 22nd. We
yeah.
are 5 weeks away from the Padres playing March 20th in Korea against the Dodgers as well. And we're going to talk all about it here today. Of course, there's been some news really each and every day since the start of pitchers and catchers reporting. Yesterday, we learned that Jackson Merrill is going to get a legitimate shot to earn a job in the outfield. I don't think it's just Merrill. I think Jacob Marcy could be one of those players as well. For San Diego, we know Jerkson Profar has signed a 1-year, $1 million deal with incentives, but it sounds as if Jackson Merrill will get a legitimate shot to win a job in the outfield this spring. We also learned today that Fernando Tatis Jr. was asked if he'd prefer to play right field or center field in 2024, and he said right field. He also said right field is like there's more to gain by him in right field, especially at Petco Park, than him in center field. I'm paraphrasing here today. So as you make your way in, whether you're here live or on replay, please subscribe. We have year-round Padres content for you. You can smash the like button for us. You can follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate your super chats. A great way to support our work. Click the $ below the chat box, and you can become a member by clicking the join button down below as well. But I think the big story yesterday, and there's more to get into today as well, is that Jackson Merrill, Jacob Marcy, other young players, Graham Pauley, will have at least opportunities this spring to earn a job on the Major League roster, Jim.
Yeah, you see Jackson Merrill taking fly balls in center field yesterday. Like, tell us he's not your outfielder without telling us he's your outfield. Like, he is going to be given every opportunity, and I would be shocked if he plays any other position in spring than the outfield. I really would. Like, you're not this team's shortstop at all next year unless something catastrophic happens. You're not even this team's second baseman next year unless something catastrophic happens. You are an outfielder. That is the only path to the big leagues for Jackson Merrill right now. And I think they're going to give him every opportunity. And if he fails, then he's going to be in the minors. But if they deem it to be a success, then he's going to be up at the major league level as an outfielder. Is it a risky move? Absolutely, it's a risky move for a guy that's played 5 career games in the outfield in his entire career. And it's almost borderline. It's on the borderline of, you're not doing this because you think you could be a good outfielder. You're doing this because you don't have any outfielders. And that's always a risky play.
I mean, AJ Preller kind of pushed back at that narrative yesterday by saying we won't promote a player based on need. Okay, so you're saying that's not factual. So if he doesn't earn the job, if he hits, because I said that yesterday, but you pushed back. I said if he hits 140 this spring, I could still see him on the team. You're like, no, that's not good enough. He's going to have to earn it to be on the team.
Well, I'm just going by how I think. Like, if a rookie 20-year-old in spring training who is competing for a job, has all this pressure on him, goes out there and hits 140 in spring, me personally, like, you need more time. That's
well, what if he hits 340 in spring? Because when you still say, you're saying, well, they're making a decision based on need, not the fact that he's been fully developed.
Look, I think anything that Preller says, you have to take with a grain of salt, honestly. And it just feels like Jackson Merrill is going to be this outfielder, in the outfield for this team this year. And we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think it's uphill. I mean, there's other players to take on a lot. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know if it's like disastrous. We'll find out. I mean, I don't think as of today, from what Preller said yesterday, they were still active in trade conversations. They were still looking at the free agent market. I don't think it's inevitable that Jackson Merrill is starting in left or center for the Padres to begin 2024. I do think he'll absolutely appear for the Padres in 2024, assuming health. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I just think that they do need to be cautious here, and they might be putting a lot on his plate. I don't think they'll do it just because they need him. I could be wrong. I don't think they do it just because they quote unquote need him. I think they do it because he either earns it or they don't do it because they make a trade or a signing and they feel as if Merrill, needs additional season in the minor leagues. I don't think they just put him up to start the year, would be my guess. Starting his clock, all those things.
I'd
But
hope so. But then that means that they would have to make another move.
well, sure. But they can do that. There's tons of time. They made moves last year during spring training.
Right. And Preller mentioned how they're still in trade talks, and the free agent market is still there. But yeah, I think this is a ever flowing outfield. Everything is, it could change by the day, and nothing is set in stone at all. But it just feels like that Jackson Merrill will get the first shot.
Yeah, I think that's fair. What do you think would happen if they go out and sign a center fielder, and then it's Profar and Merrill competing for a left field job? You think they would lean on the veteran they signed for $1 million to start the year, or would they use Profar as a bench piece? As in, would you have Profar start and put Merrill in the minor leagues, or would you have Merrill start and have Profar coming off your bench? What's more likely?
It just depends. It just depends on what the Padres think of Jackson Merrill. Like, if the Padres view Jackson Merrill as a guy that could do it, and they know more about this than we do, they're around him every single day. They see how he's reacting to being put in maybe positions that he's not used to, and they're going to react accordingly. And I think if they deem it that he can do everything that they are going to ask of him, and there's not this big hurdle, and then I think they would go with Jackson Merrill over the veteran guy signed for a 1-year, $1 million deal. Because if Jackson Merrill's on this team, we talked about this yesterday, Jackson Merrill gets called up to this team, and you're starting Profar over him, then what's the point of having Jackson Merrill at the big league roster?
Well, that won't happen. That's why I posted as, will Merrill start and Profar come off the bench, or will Profar start and Merrill start in AAA?
What do you think?
I think right now I would lean to Profar would be my guess, to give Merrill, it gives you cover, give Merrill 30 days in the minor leagues. Maybe he hits, maybe he doesn't, whatever. AAA numbers are typically inflated. It's hard to imagine you get off to an awful start in AAA. Maybe he hits, a lick, and then you have a reason to potentially promote him. I think you're asking a lot of Jackson Merrill. I do. I agree with that. And I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that he's going to start the year in the major leagues. He may. We'll see how this thing develops. Maybe there's injuries. Maybe they don't make a trade. Maybe they don't sign someone via free agency. And by the way, I think we're also forgetting about like a Jacob Marcy. No, we're not forgetting, but Jacob Marcy's 2 years older. Maybe Marcy gets the first opportunity and Merrill gets the additional seasoning. And then depending on how Marcy plays, determines what happens with Jackson Merrill once the season starts as well. And depending on how Jurickson Profar plays, determines what happens with Jackson Merrill as well. At the end of the day, I do think it'll be a big talking point, much like Fernando Tatis Jr. 2019, Chris Paddock 2019. I don't think it's the end all be all. If he's the only rookie starter in their lineup, I won't lose crazy sleep over it from day one. If there's either Jacob Marcy or Jackson Merrill in their lineup to start the year, I don't think it's the craziest thing in baseball history. I think it's a little aggressive, but if you have one rookie starter in your lineup to begin 2024 that they deem ready, I could live with that to start the year.
It's better than having Rule 5 prospects on the opening day roster,
I agree.
Which has happened in the past with this franchise.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with that.
Yeah. So,
they have any Rule 5 guys they took in the major league portion this year or not? I thought they did.
They did, but
they took someone, didn't they? So someone would have to stick to make to stay.
Yeah, I don't know. Can I just say this real quick? There's nothing to do with Jackson Merrill. Brian, bro, this is how YouTube works. I'm sorry if there's an ad in a live stream, but that's how YouTube works.
Yeah, we don't control that.
And we don't control it. And sorry, it's literally a 5-second ad. So I don't know, just whatever.
Okay, so there's the Merrill conversation. There's Tatis saying today he is a right fielder. Did you see also this? Well, you did because I sent it to you. The Bob Nightingale quote from Manny Machado yesterday in camp, which has not gotten near the play I thought it would, assuming it's accurate. Here it is. Bob Nightingale, 21 hours ago. Padres third baseman Manny Machado on life without Juan Soto. Here's the direct quote. We believe in the guys that we have, but obviously no one can replace Soto. He's the top player in the game. He's irreplaceable. Per Bob Nightingale, that is a direct quote from Manny Machado. He is irreplaceable. He's the top player in the game.
Well, you replaced him with Jerkson Profar and Jackson Merrill, so he is.
So he's replaceable.
He's been replaced. He's replaceable.
Mm-hmm.
And not surprising. I mean, how could you say a bad? How could you be like, yeah, not that great of a player. Didn't really.
No, but not that. But couldn't you be like, yeah, it's part of the game, unfortunately. But I feel as if the pieces we got back, maybe put us in a better position to win. But obviously Juan Soto is a great player. But I mean, say he's the best player in the game and he's irreplaceable. Is I don't know. That's pretty frank, isn't it?
I mean, it's Manny Machado. He's gonna say it's like whatever. I mean, is he wrong? Like, is he one of the best players in the game? Is he irreplaceable? When you think about it, is Manny wrong at all? Because I would tend to say no, he's not.
Yeah, and apparently he didn't say
Soto.
He's the top player. He said he's a top player, even though the quote attributes him as saying he's the top player in the game.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think when Juan Soto's at his best, probably right. It's probably right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we saw him as the top player in baseball as a Padre. I think he was a good player, really good player, maybe like a top 15 position player in baseball at times. I don't think he was ever the top position player as a Padre. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I think he was very good here at times. There were also times he
said a top player, not the top player, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. But I mean, he said he's irreplaceable and a top player. And no, it's fair. I mean, we feel the same way. I mean, I think trading Juan Soto is ultimately a mistake. We'll see if that's accurate or not. But also the other side of the coin, if we're being fair, and I was the biggest proponent of Juan Soto ever, is that Soto's time as a Padre was good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah, it could have been better. You wish it was longer. And I think his first half season stint with the Padres in the regular season was not good. I mean, he had like 210 or 217. I mean, it was not good. I mean, postseason wise, he had some pretty big hits, the Mets series and the Dodgers series, and then he started to heat up in the Phillies series. But, last year we were all expecting this like MVP type of season for him, and he showed moments, but overall it wasn't like the greatest. And that's not that by no means changed my opinion on Juan Soto as being one of the best players still in the game, because I still absolutely think he is. And I still think that the trading of Juan Soto at this point in time, I'm not going to say it was a mistake, but just could have been avoided. Like that whole situation could have been avoided. And it was a situation that the Padres put themselves in. So if they're crying over having to trade Juan Soto, sorry, you're the ones that put yourself in that position to have to trade Juan Soto. So I don't want to hear any crying about it from you guys at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, and listen, I thought his numbers, if you look at his numbers at the end of the year, they're very, very good. But remember what he did in September. And the season was essentially on ice. Not that that's necessarily fair. I mean, we would have ripped him if he didn't hit in September, and he did. But I'm looking it up right now. Through August, his OPS was 883. He ended up finishing the year with an OPS of 930. So he was 1150 or something in September. So he was great in the final month of the season, but we already knew where they were heading in the final month of the season, which was Cancun. So he was having a good year. But I mean, they really, AJ Preller, when he made the trade, I mean, he said it as clear as day. 3 pennant runs, we got a chance to win a World Series. We had to make a move like this. But it was actually 1 pennant run, and they traded him away. So a gross miscalculation. Yeah. Is some of that on Soto because he didn't play up to par? Not really. I mean, again, you're in the postseason that first year, and it's hard to put year 2 on Soto because he had the 930 OPS and the 158 OPS plus. So it's more of a indictment on Preller. How can you say we got him because you can't not make the trade when you get him for 3 pennant runs? They said 3, and they'd won. And that's a big miss.
Yeah. Well, now moving forward, you're going to need Manny Machado to step it up. You're going to need Xander Bogaerts to step it up. And the players that you received back from the Juan Soto trade are going to need to perform. You're going to need Michael King to perform. You're going to need Johnny Brito and Vasquez to perform. Higgy, their backup catcher, like just be serviceable, and I think he can be. I think he's proven that over his career that he's a very serviceable backup. He's not going to hit for much power. He's not going to really do much of anything offensively for you, but he can be a little streaky guy, and that's fine. The whole idea here is to have Luis Campisano take the bull by the horns and be this team's everyday catcher, 5 out of 7 days a week. And if that happens, then that's great. But with the loss of Juan Soto, it's just, you're going to need other guys to step up, starting with Manny Machado.
Yeah, I think these angles, and by the way, Duckies is not the only person to say this, but I think these angles are misguided. I feel like anytime someone leaves, no matter who it is, oh, Melvin, not a good manager. I was critical of Melvin, but Melvin, not a good manager, She'll better. Is that accurate? Oh, Soto, I won't miss him. He's not a team guy. And you know what Duckies would probably say, by the way, if Manny Machado was traded or didn't resign that extension, say Machado's not a team player. Or if something happened with Tatis or they traded Tatis, well, he's not a good guy. And he had the suspension, and he had like we're always going to say that it's Bogaerts, he didn't perform here. Like if you're not going to miss Juan Soto, then who are you going to miss? I mean, Juan Soto is one of the great players in the history. Like we're going to look back when Soto retires in 12 years, and you're going to say he had one of the great careers in modern baseball history, and he happened to be on the San Diego Padres, but we only saw him for 200 games. Because Preller traded him away. Like Juan Soto will go down. I'm not saying his time as a Padre. He might go down as one of the greatest players to ever wear a Padres uniform. I'm talking ever, including the Gwynns and whomever. Okay, Trevor Hoffman's, whomever. So if you're not going to miss Juan Soto, then who are you going to miss?
Yeah, it's just sorry, it is what it is, Duckies. It's a stupid take. And to think that Juan Soto was looking for walks and runners in scoring position is also a lazy, dumb take. So whatever. But thanks for watching.
By the way, his numbers were great with runners in scoring position last year. Great.
Like the biggest fucking eye roll ever when I hear people talk about like that with Juan Soto. And you hear people in the media in this town say the exact same thing. And you probably heard that from him, Duckies. But at the same time, that person or whoever you heard it from is a moron. All right.
So he had a 1,016 OPS with runners in scoring position in 2023. Is that not good enough?
No, it's a tired take that frankly should never be discussed again. And people like Duckies and whoever else in this town will shit on Juan Soto for not being here. We'll have fun watching Juan Soto put up massive numbers in New York.
Yeah, I'm looking right now. By the way, with men on base last year, his OPS was 983. With a runner at third and 2 outs last year in 36 plate appearances, his OPS was 1314.
Yeah,
well, I mean, I can give you numbers until I'm blue in the face, and I just told you I don't think it was an elite MVP caliber year because it wasn't. But guess what? Look at last year. His year was clearly better than Machado, clearly better than Tatis, clearly better than Bogaerts, better than Kim, running circles around Jake Cronenworth, right?
Johnny's the best. He's the best offensive player on the team by a mile. By a mile. I know everyone likes Ha-Seong Kim, and he's this fan favorite, but ran circles around Ha-Seong Kim's offensive year last year. Circles.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it can't be overcome. They didn't have a complete roster. Maybe what they've done is better for the 26-man roster. Juan Soto can't carry a team. It's hard for one player to carry a team. Mike Trout's going to the Hall of Fame. What's he carrying? Shohei Ohtani's going to the Hall of Fame. What did he carry for years? So it's not as easy as, well, we had Soto, and I'll tell you why he's not a team player. We missed the postseason. Well, Mike Trout missed the postseason. Shohei Ohtani misses the postseason. Aaron Judge misses the postseason.
No, it's a dumb take, and frankly, we should just move on, honestly.
All right. Do you want to remind our viewers about our title sponsor here on the Wrap-Up Show, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance? If you have any insurance need, Mark is your guy. You can take that from us. I've got a homeowner's life insurance and earthquake insurance policy through Mark Nimitz. If you switch your policy, he could save you $750 or more the next time you have a renewal. Before you renew, call Mark. Click the link in the description down below. You'll get to his website, which you see on screen. You can get free quotes online, free quotes by calling Mark. He'll talk to you about the Padres. He's a lifelong Padres fan and a native San Diegan. It's whatever you need, and he's a great agent. You can take that from me. Great service and communication. Had a claim in here in 2022. He took care of everything, saved us thousands of dollars, dozens of hours of time. I don't know where I would have turned without Mark. Auto, home, business life, renters, condo, whatever it is, get in contact with Mark Nimitz. If you support this channel, if you support our work, whether you're here live or on replay, if you have an insurance need, get in contact with Mark Nimitz before renewing.
Yeah, all his information is on the ticker below. mnimitz@farmersagent.com is his email address. And when you reach out to our buddy Mark, let him know that John and Jim from the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
All right. I knew the TV deal would be better than what was being forecasted, and it is. It's $19.99 a month. MLB.TV. It's been rebranded as Padres.TV. Remember last year was like the San Diego Padres MLB channel. It made no sense.
Something like
but
that.
It's Padres.TV, which is MLB.TV. It's $99.99 for the full season, which is 64 cents a game, or it's $19.99 a month for the 6-month regular season. It also includes spring training broadcast. There are a handful of those and a number of other offerings.
And they're free, by the way.
MLB.TV. I'm sorry?
Spring training games are free.
Spring training is free. The first Padres.TV broadcast is Monday, February 26th. They'll have 6 or 7 of the spring training games on Padres.TV. They'll have games on streaming, etc. But a majority of the 162, not all. There's ESPN games. There's Peacock games. There's a handful of games in there, right? But let's say 155 of the 162 are available at Padres.TV for $99.99. I was spending $100 per month on DirecTV Stream, which is some BS product. I can now spend $99 for the entire season to watch the Padres. For me, that is a huge win. No blackout restrictions in market. What's better than that? I mean, could you ask for being cheaper than that? I can't.
The only thing that I was worried about, because we all knew they were going to be on MLB.TV. Like they were going to have the same thing, same setup as they did last year. Probably a few more bells and whistles and better production because they had a full offseason to prepare. I was worried that the price would go up. I was expecting maybe $29.99 a month, right? Or like $49.99 for the entire year. But when you see at $99.99 for the full year or $19.99 a month, no blackout restrictions, you can, I mean, the MLB.TV app compared to the Bally's app was not even, I mean, it's like Grand Canyon size gap comparable.
The app is available on all TVs, all smart TVs.
Yeah. So, absolute home run if you're a fan. I think that this is the best possible scenario that you could get. But if you're the team, like I care about myself. I know you care about like your viewing experience. If you're a fan, like how do I get to watch the games? And this all is amazing. I mean, $100 full for the full season. All right. $100. And then say, first of all, screw cable. YouTube TV, $72 a month. All right. So I mean,
like 90. You're like 90 because you're paying another $15 a month for the Padres, right?
Right. And regular cable is around like $150, $180 a month.
Yeah, depending on what you have. Yeah.
Yeah. So I personally love it. And I think we shouldn't take this for granted because in the future, guarantee that this will change. Because this formula that the Padres are doing here for their TV, that ain't helping them revenue wise.
Well, look at it this way.
That's not helping you.
Look at it this way. There's no chance in hell they'll sell 100,000 of these subscriptions. That's a massive number. If they did, that would result in $10 million. They had a $60 million TV deal. In order to hit the $60 million number, they would need 600,000 subscribers that's like everyone in the city. I mean, if you think about it, that's such a massive number that, they're going to move 50 to 100,000 of these subscriptions would be my guess. They're going to make $5 million. Plus there's costs associated with it. Maybe Major League Baseball is backfilling something. Maybe it's because of in a loan or some type of repayment or future payment. I mean, but here's what happened. They went from $60 million in TV to start last year, coming off a National League Championship Series, to $5 million guaranteed through their TV deal. They went from 60 million to 5 million.
Bad.
And they're not the only team. Arizona was in the World Series last year.
Right.
They have no TV deal.
That's why the Padres asked for a $100 million loan. I mean, the math is the easiest math in the world. They needed to cut $50 million in payroll. They lost $50 million from their TV revenue deal. That's why they asked for $100 million. And they only got 50. So guess what? They used probably that 50 for their TV, and they cut all the money from the payroll. I mean, it's exactly. Very easy to see how this went down. They lost their TV deal, $50 million a year, give or take, whatever. I'm just using a rate.
Yep.
And so you lose that, and you needed to get below the CBT. So basically cut between 50 and 60 million off your payroll. And they asked Major League Baseball for a $100 million loan to cover those costs. Guess what? Major League Baseball said, nah, here's 50. So what are you going to choose? Are you going to choose the TV media rights deal to cover, or are you going to choose the payroll to cover? They clearly chose the media deal because they're giving you a pretty cush deal here if you're a fan.
Yeah, I don't even know if the Padres have anything to do with it. I mean, the MLB.TV stuff, I think, is going to be the same for all teams because Arizona's going through this. There's like 4 teams going through it right now. I think it's just that's the cost.
Yeah.
Like I'm looking, I just went to MLB.com. So all teams all year, I mean, think about it. All teams is $149.99, and that's set by MLB. So how could the Padres be $149.99 if I could watch every single game for $149.99? So it's $99.99, no blackouts. I think Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, I saw a quote this week that said this is a very difficult time for clubs.
Yeah.
Like, and I said this, I think earlier this week on John and Jim or last week. This is the first time in the Big Four sports history where you actually could see like contraction of salaries on the other side of this.
Yeah.
Because it's not just the Padres. It's going to be like 20 of these 30 teams. It's not going to impact the Dodgers. It's not going to impact the Yankees or the Mets, but it's going to impact 20 of these teams. Revenues are going down. How do players get paid more if revenues are going down? Like, this is the first time in modern sports history, and maybe I'm off the mark, but NFL revenues skyrocket. NBA revenues skyrocket. Major League Baseball revenues are like murky because of these local TV deals and the impact of streaming on markets and on regional sports networks like Bally's and whomever else. So it's an interesting time for Major League Baseball. I'm not here feeling sorry for people owning the teams, but I am a little bit concerned about the Padres' ability to compete in the short term with teams that have money, and the Padres clearly don't have the money they previously had. That concerns me.
So you think that Major League Baseball has these price points, like Padres don't have anything to do with it?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think? What do you think the price points would be if the Padres had their way?
$13,000. I don't know. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't think it's that big of a deal, Jim, because if they charge 150, not 100, like, is that making their season? Like, we made another 2.5 in TV. You know, I mean, you're out 60.
Yeah. So, and from what we saw last year, the second that Bally's went under and MLB.TV took over the Padres TV rights, there wasn't a change in viewership at all. Like, there wasn't a spike, even though that it became everybody in San Diego County.
Yeah.
Right. So before that wasn't the case, and MLB.TV made it so the reach was just way larger, and there was no change at all. I think there might have been maybe, I don't even know there wasn't a change at all.
It was very similar.
Very similar. And that's something I think the Padres,
50,000 people watching on average per game, something like that.
I think the Padres expected more. I think they maybe expected double because of their reach, and they were wrong. But
the issue with reach, here's the one thing we know. The one thing that supersedes anything else is cost. So when there's a barrier of pay, you're not going to reach more people. You can say, oh, we now, because of no blackout restrictions, are reaching millions of people. And by the way, there's also people that are going to have access to this because of their cable provider, I'm assuming, because it'll be on like YurView Channel 4. I don't think that's fully been announced, but this will also be on cable providers. It's for people that don't have cable that are going to take advantage of this direct-to-consumer situation. But yeah, direct-to-consumer is never going to equal cable because you're never going to get people to buy in one-off after one-off after one-off after one-off for one thing, like Padres games. You're not buying a cable bundle. You're buying one thing. Padres game. So it's never going to be this like complete and utter home run. You're never going to have millions of people spending $100 to watch Padres games. It just doesn't work like that.
No, I agree.
So I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I think in the future they could get some of the revenues back. I mean, but I don't know how long that's going to take, but it could take a while is the concern, I think.
Yeah.
Guys, as you gear up for the baseball season, do so with our friends at FOCO. They've got brand new gear for the season. You can click the link pinned in the top of the chat or the link that's in the description down below, like this Padres Flamingo shirt, which is basically what you have to wear if you're going to Korea, because nothing says Korea like flamingos or spring training. They also have big head bobbleheads like this one of Fernando Tatis Jr., your right fielder, not your center fielder. They've got this big head bobblehead now available. In addition to that, I got this for my 4-year-old this is his Valentine's Day gift.
Oh, nice.
Padres backpack for kindergarten, which he will use coming up this August. They have so many more products. Jim has some bobbleheads behind him from our friends at FOCO. They've got amazing officially licensed products through Major League Baseball. Padres bobbleheads, big heads, hats, t-shirts, bucket caps. I don't know. Everything. Seriously, click the link and browse it because they got so much stuff. And maybe you're going to Peoria. Maybe you're going to Seoul. Maybe you're going to Padres Opening Day, March 28th. Gear up. Baseball season is back. Spring training is underway. We're just a couple of days out from spring training games, Jim.
Yeah. Click the link in our chat, top of the chat, and go to FOCO. FOCO's amazing. I mean, the bobbleheads there they have are fantastic. They always come out with new ones, up to date, based on events that happen on the field and whatnot. So go there, check them out, pick up some stuff, and use the link in our chat on the top.
I think as we learned last year after the switch to MLB Padres channel, they made some changes in their broadcast because they didn't have Annie Halperin on the sidelines. I think in the second half of last year, they announced today, and I apologize because I don't know the pronunciation of her first name. They announced a new sideline reporter, Mariluz Cook, maybe the way to say it. She had previously been working as a sports anchor for KSL 5 in Salt Lake. And served as a host for the Utah Jazz. So Annie, who wasn't with that new product in the second half of last year, is no longer a part of the broadcast in 2024 either. They have this newcomer, I may be saying it improperly, Mariluz Cook, along with Orsillo and Grant, Scanlon. Pomerantz is back, is he not? I didn't see his name. No, I don't see his name in the release. Did you?
I didn't. I know that Sweeney's not back. Sweeney's gone.
Right. That we had discussed. That's right. But I don't see Mike Pomerantz's name. But I'm reading the UT article. I'm not reading that Padres blog site. I don't know if he was mentioned in the Padres blog site or not. That would be a bit of a surprise. He's been doing it for how long? Decade plus at this point?
Yeah. Well, the Padres can do what they want to do. So
okay.
I'm just saying like it's unfortunate. I like Pomeranz a lot. I like Sweeney a lot. I know some fans didn't like him, but I thought, getting an insight from a former baseball player is kind of like critical. I mean, it's like, hey, right after the game, I want to hear from a former baseball player. Okay, cool.
Well, they'll have that, I think, still with what? Scanlon, right?
Potentially. Scans. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess.
What else here? Manny Machado in the UT yesterday, Kevin, swinging the bat pretty well. He's in the midst of a throwing program. He has no expectations, his quote, honestly, no expectations. Just go out there and see how I feel. Hoping
baseball.
to be available when the season starts. It's baseball. He will miss a game in April, we know, because of the birth of his first child, because his wife is due to give birth in the month of April. So he's expected to miss at least one game at some point in April. But I mean, everything we know about Manny Machado is I don't see him not being in the lineup in some capacity March 20th. And I hope he is well enough to contribute in a big way, because no matter what he does, he's going to be in there. Whether he hits or not, I think he's going to be in there. So let's hope that he looks healthy and is able to impact this team in a positive way from day one, because I don't see how he sits, no matter what his numbers look like to start the year, because that's just who Manny Machado is.
Dude, I'd be surprised if he's not getting in at bat in the first Cactus League game.
I don't know about that.
I wouldn't be surprised by it. He calls his shots, and if he feels like he's healthy enough, he's going to go out there. He's going to play. And you kind of need to, as an entire team, have everything ramped up quicker than normal. I mean, most big league teams are reporting pitchers and catchers today, which is like, oh, it's interesting. The Padres did that, like, this past weekend. And most of their position players are already there. So everything for them, same with the Dodgers, because they played in Korea as well. But everything for them has to be ramped up. And I'm sure Manny is doing the exact same thing with his recovery, is ramping things up to make sure that he's ready for the first game of the year in Korea. At least at worst as a DH.
Yeah, I agree. I could definitely see it being as a DH, no question. I'm with you on that. I don't think he'll force it in the field, but I do think he'll force it getting into the lineup. He had surgery 2 days after the season.
You see that? He was in the field taking some grounders.
Right, but it's kind of like, Aaron Rodgers was throwing. I mean,
true. It's
is that enough for me to believe that he's going to be in the field? I don't know. It is crazy that he somehow, I didn't even remember this. He somehow hit 30 home runs last year. But his OPS was 782. He hit 258. He was a 3.5 WAR player after being a 7.5 WAR player the year before. I mean, he's got to meet that in the middle, and that's not easy. Coming off an elbow surgery and coming off a down year, he's got to go from 3.5 WAR to 5.5 WAR. When projections at Fangraphs have him as a 3.4 WAR player, that man, there's a lot of pressure and onus. I don't even know if it's pressure. You just have to produce at a high clip from day one, coming off injury for a team that no longer has Juan Soto, that is not as good on paper as they were a year ago. Like that's a lot. And that's what, future Hall of Famers hopefully are capable of doing. So I think he's capable. He's only a year removed from an amazing season. Can he replicate that coming off injury? I don't know. I really don't know. It's a big question mark, I would say.
Well, it's an even year, so.
It is an even year, yes.
He usually backs up bad seasons with good seasons.
True.
So you hope this is a good season, and they need it in the worst way.
Right.
They need a lot of things to go right for them. That's one of them. That's probably the top. I mean, you need to have Manny Machado have a Manny Machado type of year, right? And yeah, it's crucial to this team's success. If Manny plays like he did last year, I just don't see a path for this team that makes the postseason. I just don't.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
you need like all world type of seasons from Kim and Bogarts and Tatis and like Cronenworth actually to be like competent again at the plate. You just need a lot to go right if Manny doesn't have a good season.
Here's the direct quote, by the way, and I agree with you on. We talked earlier, Tatis is not going to have a position change. You could argue that he'd be a brilliant center fielder, but he's already a platinum glover in right. The quote from Tatis, that Tatis told the Padres he thought he'd bring more value in right. Here's the quote: "I feel like right field at Petco Park is more important than center field." Interesting. I mean, it's spacious, right field compared to left field. More important than center field, I don't know. But if he's comfortable in right field, there's no need to move him.
There's no need. Man. Keep him in right.
Yeah.
There's no need. He's comfortable out there. He's proven he's one of the best defensive right fielders in the game, if not the best. His arm is such a weapon out there, and it looks like he got very comfortable. And he even mentioned today or yesterday, maybe it was this morning, talking about his swing and how his swing just was not there last year. Duh, we all saw it. I mean, look at the numbers.
Especially September.
Yeah, it just wasn't good. You can get his swing back, and we talked about it too. Last year for him offensively, there was a little bit of a pass from a standpoint of, okay, the main thing is we want to see you play for a full season without getting injured. Check, did that. Being off for a full year, like, that's tough, man. That is tough. And I know the reasons why he was off for a full year, and it's not excusing it at all. But this year is the year where if Tatis looks like he did offensively this year, then we start to have to make, some discussion here about like what's going on here.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I believe he'll bounce back. Here's why. Here's the list of players with a higher career OPS through age 23 than Tatis. Here are the players with a higher career OPS through age 23. Ted Williams, Jimmy Fox, Joe DiMaggio, Albert Pujols, Juan Soto, Willie Wells, Mel Ott. That's the list. So, I mean, you got some incredible talents in the history of the sport, and that's the list of players with more power and productivity at the plate through age 23 than Tatis. Now, again, it was a down year last year. Are there reasons to explain it? I think there are. Does it guarantee he bounces back? Absolutely not. But he seems like a bounce back candidate at his age, further removed from injury with the success he had earlier in his career. I think he's a big time bounce back candidate in 2024. I hope he's an MVP candidate. I think he's capable of being that in 2024. Richard, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, we solve a lot. Yeah, potentially. Richard, thank you. He says, Dodger fan here. If I were a Padre fan, I don't care what AJ said. They're going to rush the rookies, period. Maybe. It's possible. It's possible. I don't think anyone fully knows the answer on that, but I think it's one of the possibilities that could play out over the next half a year.
It is Preller's MO, and actions speak louder than words. And so, I mean, we know Preller. It's kind of like just you listen to him, but at the same time, whatever he says, just always take it for a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's never going to be truthful with you. He's never going to give you a clear-cut answer. He's never going to. I mean, you can ask him a yes or no question. Is the sky is the grass green? And he would give you a 5-minute, well, and and get to a point where you're like, wait, did you even answer my question?
Right. That's true.
So actions will speak louder than words. And if Jackson Merrill's on this opening day roster, if he hits 180 in spring, then whatever he said yesterday about not rushing guys and putting them up in knees, then we all know that was a complete lie, which he's known to do.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I do agree there's been some players maybe rushed, even like Ethan Salas getting to AA last year was a complete reach, obviously, but that's not putting Salas yet in the big leagues, or even putting Merrill as of yet in the big leagues. I think that what Preller said, that these players have to earn the jobs, I'll take that at its face until proven otherwise. Like if he does hit 140 this spring, he's on the big league roster and starting in left field for the first 30 games of the season, then clearly he hasn't really earned that opportunity, but we'll see if that's how it plays out or not. Matt, thank you for your membership and the super chat, guys. Appreciate it. Please subscribe if you're here. We have year-round Padres content. Smash the like button for us. You can follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. Thank you for the super chats. Clicking that $sign below the chat box. Thank you for the super thanks if you're here on replay as well. He says, let's see if the 35th hitting coach in 20 years can fix some of these players. I don't even know who the hitting coach is. I have no idea. Who's the hitting coach? Exactly.
Did they hire one? Honestly,
they did. Who is it? They've had so many. Who cares?
I can't keep track, honestly. Like,
who is it? Someone put it in the chat. Who's the hitting coach?
I know four coach. Well, I know Tim Leeper, who we had on our John and Jim show.
Yep, he was great.
Oh yes, thanks, Matt.
The dude from Cleveland.
Yeah, it was with Boston as well, and with Xander Bogaerts. Victor Gonzalez. Okay, gotcha.
Do you believe he'll be here in 2026?
No chance.
Exactly. That's the crazy part of it all. And honestly, whoever the hitting coach is, these hitters have to hit. Whoever the hitting coach is, Victor Gonzalez, whomever, bench coach, Tim Leeper, whoever it is, these guys got to hit. And I'm not putting it on the hitting coach. Well, if they hit, I'm not giving Victor Gonzalez credit. If they don't hit, I'm not saying fire Victor Gonzalez. That's the way I look at it. Right. You got tens of millions of dollars tied up in these players, position players, tens of millions, hundreds of millions. It's on them. They got to perform.
Right. All right. I got to go.
All right. Jim's got to go. We will be on the radio at 3 p.m. Mike Farron, MLB Network Radio. That's news to Jim. He will be on the radio today at 3:10. Lamont Butler, San Diego State. You may recall what he did last year in the Final Four. He will join us at 3:30. We do want to thank our partners, including our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have an insurance need, please get in contact with Mark by clicking the link in the description down below. And again, if you're looking for Padres gear for the season, click that link in the description down below. For our friends at FOCO, we'll see you on the radio today at 3 p.m. For Jim, I'm John. This has been the